You think Francis has an argument? You think Francis has an argument on saying, I'm never going to fight for 500,000 or 600,000 anymore? Because here's what the article says. It says, Ngannou details combo with Dana White, clarifies contracts. By the way, Tom just pulled up the EBITDA, which was emailed to Tyler in a moment. Tom, if you can explain to us what that means, we'll go through that here in a minute. But Ngannou has revealed what was said in a recent conversation with Dana White and also clarifies his contract status in the UFC if he defeats Cyril Gain next weekend. Speaking with you, ESPN, Thursday, Ngannou shared more intimate details of their conversation. It went pretty well. At this point, I'm not upset. I'm kind of chill about everything. And I went to him. We wished each other happy holidays. And I tell him my frustration. I expressed to him how I would like to stay with the UFC, but I don't feel like UFC still wants me to stay. So I don't feel promoted anymore. I mean, maybe I'm wrong about that, and I didn't see anything compared to what happened to different fighters. When I asked Dana White in response to his observation, Ngannou praised the UFC boss for being quick on his feet. He bring up something really fast, and that's why you know that Dana White is very good. He tells me, like, yeah, we want you. Have you ever wanted to go somewhere and we didn't take care of you? I'm like, yeah, but I think it's more than that. Anyways, they went back and forth, all this. I've had this contract since 2017, and I think, you know, the $500,000, $600,000 to Ngannou, him getting paid $500,000, $600,000. You think he's getting underpaid? You think he's getting paid the right amount? Who's got the better argument? Because I got a follow-up to that for you.
He should definitely be getting paid over $600,000, because when you look at his value when it comes to if he wasn't in the UFC, right? Say, you know, they walked and they went their separate ways. He can do a boxing match with, you know,
Tyson
Fury, you know, Deontay Wilder, and get paid millions and millions of dollars. You know,
you think Dana cares?
Yes, I think Dana cares.
Meaning, you think Dana cares that that he could go and fight one of those guys, make $5 to $10 million, to the point where he'd be willing to match that pay to keep him there?
He knows his value. He knows what he has in Ngannou,
okay.
and he knows that.
But do you know what I'm asking? You know, like, for example, I remember one time Shaq went to Pat Riley and he says, "Listen, man, you know, Miami Heat, you know, $20 million a year," and he called Jerry Butts. He says, "Jerry, you know, it's me or Kobe, man. Miami wants to give me $20 million." You know what Jerry told him? He said, "Take it." He said, "Because I'm not going to pay you $20 million." He says, go get your money. So he went and got his $20 million because Shaq was at his end of his career. He's like, dude, I'm not going to pay $20 million. And Jerry banked on, Kobe at the time rather than paying Shaq. But in this case, isn't Francis like at his peak? Like, isn't he like he's still got a few more years where he can go like this, right? He can sell out arena, sell out pay-per-view.
Absolutely. And here's the thing about it. Like, when you look at a heavyweight that can do what Francis does, it just makes the whole league look better, because, you know, there can be a lot of great fighters in other different weight classes, but heavyweight just says something. You know, the baddest man in the world has to be a heavyweight. It just kind of like, it just seems like that's just the right thing to be, right? You know, no matter how good somebody is at 155, you're like, yeah, he's tough, but I mean, I probably can whoop his ass. You know what I'm saying?
Like Ngannou would whoop Conor McGregor's ass.
Yeah, right.
That's just.
But there's no doubt when you see Francis fight and you see him punch somebody that you know that he'll probably knock your head off into a stratosphere. You know, there's that fear factor. So having a heavyweight that can do what Francis does is not, you know, not something that you just want to let go. And that's something that you value, somebody who can close out the show, somebody who's going to bring excitement.
So here's my follow-up to that. And this is where I'm curious to know what you would say about this. Because, you know, so you got a Francis who is a great fighter, but he's not a promoter. So he's not a guy that's going to go out there and promote, like, let's just say Conor will promote, right? A Masvidal will promote. A Kobe will promote. Usman is not even a promoter. Usman's a great fighter, but Usman's not a, like, you know, people who want to watch Usman fight is because they want to see this guy, see if somebody can take him down. Yeah. They're not going there because he's a great promoter. He's doing it. He's not that guy. He just comes, shows up, does his job, and leaves. Matter of fact, I don't even think promoting is natural to him, right? I think it's natural to certain people. Do you think to Dana's guy to build as a face of UFC is more somebody that's also great personality promoter rather than somebody that just shows up and fights?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a balance there. You know what I'm saying? I think that, you know, in certain fighters, everybody can't be the same. You know, if everybody was the same and everybody went out there and they talked trash and they, tried to sell us, then it'd become very monotonous and boring at the same time because everybody's giving the same thing. But there's a subtle confidence in Francis, and there's just this, I wonder what's going to happen when he connects. Like this fight that's coming up this weekend, Francis isn't saying much, but at the same time, the anticipation for it is very high. You have Cyril Gane in there, and you have Francis Ngannou. These guys are training partners. Francis' old training partner is now Cyril Gane's training partner. And then there's this whole history about, Francis may have knocked him out in training practice and whatnot. So there's an anticipation, and there's many different ways to sell a fight. If I'm a promoter, I understand who I'm promoting. Sometimes guys need a less of a push than other guys. The guys who need more of a push, then that's when you have to start being a better promoter and get the people that want to see him.
Yeah, so you've got guys like Khabib, you've got guys like George St. Pierre. Some of the biggest fighters of all time don't have to go out there and act like clowns. It's not the WWE. Mm-hmm. Some of those guys that aren't the great fighters that kind of know a little bit, this is my moment, I better get the most out of it. Those are the guys that go out there, and then you have like a Conor who's probably better on the mic than he is in the ring.
So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.